Hi, this is Dr. Georgia. I hope you find today's message a blessing in your life. We want to make sure that we continue to provide these video messages for you when you can't come to church, or for those of you who live in a different state, or we noticed recently we have a lot of people in even different countries who are tuning in. So if that is you and you can donate to us, we invite you to hit that donate button just below the message here. So thanks so much. So let us prepare ourselves. So you put your hand over your eyes. I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today. I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today. Over your ears. I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today. I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today. Now just put your hand over your heart. Extend out your arms. I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today. I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today. The spiritual truth that I'm working with today is that we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual laws, having a human experience. We are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual laws, having a human experience. Now, that's the spiritual truth and it can't be changed, but sometimes that human experience that we have lands us in places that make it difficult for us to remember who we are. Makes it difficult for us to remember that we are spirit beings with all of the power we need to change our lives. But nothing can change that. If you have spent time in jail or in prison, you are a spiritual being. If you are in the midst of bankruptcy or foreclosure, you are a spiritual being. If you are divorced once or twice or several times, you are a spiritual being. If you have situations with your health right now that look like dis-ease, that is going to take you out, you are a spiritual being. Nothing can change that. No person, no place, no thing, no condition can change the truth of who you are. Actually, no person, no place, no thing, no condition can even damage the spiritual person that you are, the spiritual being that you are. Can't destruct because it's indestructible. Can't change it. Now what can change is that you can damage your awareness of it. Yeah. And when you damage your awareness of it, you can forget who you are. You can forget the kind of power you have. You can forget why you're here on the planet. All of the great evils of the world, the Holocaust, slavery, childhood molestation, every evil of the world happened because either an individual or a group of individuals didn't know who they were. They tried to use some external power to keep other people down or out because they didn't know that they didn't need to do that. They had all the power they needed right inside of them. At that time. That's the spiritual truth. So we can put blinders on. We can not see our divinity, but it doesn't make it not so. You are a spiritual being, no matter what. Living in a spiritual universe, governed by spiritual laws, having a human experience. Our work is never to become more spiritual. You see people, when they get into some of these teachings, they try and act more spiritual. Well, all they're doing is acting. Because you can't be more spiritual. You already are spiritual. You can be more aware of it. You can be more aware of it in a deep and authentic way in your life. You know, there are tons of inmates in prisons right now who, thanks to many priests, rabbis, imams, ministers, lay people who are teaching spirituality. There are tons of inmates right now who are beginning to understand the flow of God and how it works in their lives. They're beginning to understand God's delivery system. But here's the thing. We want to get to people before the gavel slams. We want to get to people even before the cruiser rolls up in front of them. That's where we want to get. That's why we want to grow this church, is because we want to get spiritual principles and spiritual understanding of who people are into everybody's heart and everybody's mind on the planet. But closing the gap between your love center, between your spirit center, and your human center is going to call for a commitment and a willingness to fall down and get up, and fall down and get up, and fall down and get up, and never to give up. That's what it's going to call for. We want folks who understand their willingness and accept the wisdom to have positive strategies shown to them. Because there are plenty of people out there showing us positive strategies to begin to understand who it is we are. And we begin to learn from each other. That's why we say in this church, there is absolutely no selfish motive for uplifting yourself. Because every time you and I uplift ourselves, other people are uplifted just by being around them. Those who are in recovery are familiar with the term, find somebody who has what you want and ask how it was achieved. We all need to learn that wisdom. You see somebody who has calm, creativity, adventure, is wildly rich, is compassionate, go and find them and ask them what they're doing. Ask them how they're achieving that. Well, one person who I believe fits all of that, who's rich beyond measure, who's creative, just a beautiful person, was Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer wrote a book, and in that book, he looked at ways that we could begin to understand in a deeper way that which is within us that will help us understand our spirit center. Now, he's written several books about that, but one of them I want to work with for a while in the church throughout the summer is this thing called Excuses Begone. Because until we can let go of the excuses that we have developed to keep us from understanding who it is we are and how powerful we are, and stop allowing those excuses to sabotage our success, we're going to get stuck. And that's really why you come to this church, is to begin to understand how we can get unstuck and really feel the presence of God that is within us. So what he says is this. He says that we can not only change, but we can change at depth. At such a depth that we won't keep sliding back. Because if you're like me, I stop making excuses, then they kind of creep back in, and I slide back. And I stop again, creep, and back. He says, look, I have a way that you can begin to stop making excuses for your life, and it will stay that way. And not only that, but you can change at depth. Not just the superficial stuff, like I'm not going to procrastinate or gossip anymore, but the deep stuff that says, you know what, I believe I am whole and healthy, even in the face of what somebody else might be saying. And make that so. I want to read you kind of an example of the kind of depth I'm talking about here, that our mind has the potential of achieving. A Baylor Science of Medicine study published in 2002 evaluated surgery for patients with severe debilitating knee pain. The lead author of the study, Dr. Bruce Mosley, knew that knee surgery helped his patients. All good surgeons know that there is no placebo effect in surgery. But Mosley was trying to figure out which part of the surgery was giving his patients relief. In patients, the study were divided into 3 groups. Mosley shaved the damaged cartilage in the knee of one group. For another group, he fleshed out the knee joint, removing material thought to be causing an inflammatory effect. Both of these constitute standard treatment for arthritic knees. The third group got fake surgery. The patient was sedated. Mosley made the 3 standard incisions, then talked and acted as if he would have during a real surgery. He even splashed salt water to simulate the sound of the knee washing procedure. After 40 minutes, Mosley sewed up the incision as if he had done the surgery. All 3 groups were prescribed the same post-operative care, which included an exercise program. The results were shocking. Yes, the groups who received surgery, as expected, improved, but the placebo group improved just as much as the other 2 groups. Despite the fact that there are 650,000 surgeries yearly for arthritic knees at a cost of about $5,000 each, the results were clear to Mosley. My skill as a surgeon had no benefit on these patients. The entire benefit of the surgery for osteoarthritis of the knee was a placebo effect. The television news programs graphically illustrated the stunning results. Footage showed members of the placebo group walking and playing basketball, in short, doing things they reported they could not do before their surgery. The placebo patients didn't find out for 2 years that they had gotten fake surgery. One member of the placebo group, Tim Perez, who used to walk with a cane before the surgery, is now able to play basketball with his grandsons. He summed up the theme of this book when he told the Discovery Channel, "In this world, anything is possible when you put your mind to it. I know your mind can work miracles." See, that's a powerful example of changing at depth through the power of our mind. See, we have powerful minds, and it's nice now to have scientific evidence like this, and many of you know that some of us are fans of Joe Dispenza, and what Joe Dispenza does, he's a neuroscientist, he studied the brain, he knows exactly how it works, and what he does is if you go to one of his workshops, he graphs how our thinking changes our body, actually changes our body. Now the interesting thing to me is that that's nice, but we've had this information for thousands of years. Scripture tells us that the mind can change anything. You know, I get a kick out of people who, and especially in this philosophy, you know, Jesus created miracles through the power of his what? Mind. He cured people. He turned water into wine. He walked on water. And a lot of people in New Thought say, aren't those Christians cute? They believe all that outlandish. Isn't that cute? So outlandish. And now we're saying, oh, guess not. Guess not so outlandish. We actually have scientific studies that prove under the right condition and with the right training, because we're talking now about a trained mind. Not a mind that reacts to every little thing. Not a mind that, you know, the doctor walks in, gives us a diagnosis, and we become paralyzed with it. But a trained mind that said, well, that's an interesting theory you have, doctor, and maybe that will happen to me, and maybe it won't happen to me. But I'm going to use everything within my spirit body, my mind, to make sure it doesn't happen to me. Because what we know now is studies say that our mind, people with mind, have cured heart disease, they've cured depression, in some cases they've cured cancer. And in combination, our mind, in combination with some of the modalities that we now know are out there, boy, the sky's the limit for us. The sky is the limit for us. In his book, Dwyer says even this, he says, we can change our DNA. That's the depth at which we can change. And how liberating it would be if we didn't have our DNA chasing us around. If we didn't have, you know, the prospect of our parents who were clinically depressed or had heart disease or had some other situation. How liberating would it be if we could have the freedom to know that we can change even our own DNA in our life. And not only our family's DNA, but society's DNA. Because so often we're held limited by, we're waiting, in fact, we've organized our lives around excuses because of what our DNA is saying to us. But as Ernest Holmes and Dwyer says, this has to be a trained mind. It can't be reacting to every little thing that comes along. And I don't know about you, but I do it. You know, I've been having a little pain in my left knee lately. And now I'm thinking, well, I wonder when I can schedule this. I haven't even seen a doctor about it. When am I going to see the surgeon? Making excuses. Better not ride my bike too far. It's crazy. See, we do that because our mind is telling us to do it. It could be telling us something else if we begin to train our mind. Dwyer says this: our spirit being and our human self have to become integrated, but our spirit being always must take the lead. They aren't equal. Our spirit being and our human being are not equal. We have to lead with our human being. Well, to practice a life of no excuses means no excuses. It means a 100% excuse-free life. Because here's what excuses are. They're simply lies to make us feel safe. That's all excuses are. They are lies that will help us feel safe. So here's the thing. If your goal in life is to feel safe, get your phone out, start looking at your Facebook feed or whatever. But if your goal in life is to feel adventurous and rich beyond measure, to feel happy, to feel of service to people in an authentic way, we need to make a commitment today to live a life 100% free of excuses. I'm going to read to you 18 common excuses. And they're from this book, and they also have an affirmation after it. So I'm going to read the excuse, and I'm going to ask you to read the affirmation following it. But before you do it, I want you to look at the excuse and ask yourself, is this something I do? Because here's the thing. What I know about us, when we get to a church like this, we are less likely to tell other people our excuses because we're too cool for that. You know, we're too spiritual for that. We don't do that. But we tell ourselves. And who matters when you're training your mind? Yourself, and only yourself. So let's look at these 18 things and see what we can do. I'll read the first. It will be difficult. It's going to be risky.
Being myself involves no risk. It is my ultimate truth, and I live it fearlessly.
It will take a long time.
I have infinite patience when it comes to fulfilling my destiny.
There will be a family drama.
I would rather be loathed for who I am than loved for who I am not.
I don't deserve it.
I am a divine creation, a piece of God. Therefore, I cannot be undeserving.
It's not my nature.
My essential nature is perfect and faultless. It is to His nature I rise.
I can't afford it.
I am connected to an unlimited source of abundance.
No one will help me.
The right circumstances and the right people are already here and will show up on time.
It has never happened before.
I am willing to attract all that I desire, beginning here and now.
I am not strong enough.
I have access to unlimited assistance. My strength comes from my connection to my source of being.
I'm not smart enough.
I am a creation of the divine mind. All is perfect, and I am a genius in my own right.
I'm too old or not old enough.
I am an infinite being. The age of my body has no bearing on what I do or who I am.
The rules won't let me.
I live my life according to divine rules.
It's too big.
I think only about what I can do now. By thinking small, I accomplish great things.
I don't have the energy.
I feel passionately about my life, and this passion fills me with excitement and energy.
It's my personal family history.
I live in the present moment by being grateful for all of my life experiences as a child.
I'm too busy.
As I unclutter my life, I free myself to answer the callings of my soul.
I'm too scared.
I can accomplish anything I put my mind to because I know that I am never alone.
So, I'm going to have those typed up. We're getting ready for Human Spirit. We've just been swamped in the office. But I'm going to have those typed up with the affirmations. They'll be out there next Sunday. I'll take a stack to Human Spirit for those of you coming to Human Spirit with me. And I encourage you to look at them and to really begin to use them. If that affirmation is stilted or not enough in your language, rewrite it. But use these affirmations to put some of these excuses to bed. You know, those are the ones that are for our personal family, but we also have some tribal ones that we allow. I'm gay. I can't because I'm gay. I'm black. I can't because I'm black. I'm white. I can't because I'm brown. I can't. Do you see what I mean? We need to begin to work with these excuses both individually and tribal so that we can begin to put them to bed and begin to soar, because it's soar, not soar, soar, because that's what God intended for you and I to do. Now, I'm not going to be here next week because I'll be at Human Spirit. Reverend Betsy will be here. She's going to give a great talk. I know that 60 of you won't be here, but I expect the rest of you to be here. We still have a few slots left at Human Spirit. Want to make a last-minute decision, go over there and sign up. But don't hesitate to. Then when I come back, we're gonna really delve into 7 strategies, and I'm gonna take a couple of weeks to do it. We're gonna delve into 7 strategies to get rid of excuse making. You think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
After that, okay, good. All right. So before we go to our collection, I want to bring up somebody. You know, we are a tithing community. We ask you to tithe, and we don't ask you to do anything we don't do. So we tithe back to our community in ways that we think people are shining God's love on the planet, whether God is ever used or not. We simply want to support people who are out there in the community taking these principles and doing it. So I want to bring somebody up, Imani Mitchell from Black Women United. Imani, come on up.
Thank you for having me. Hi, my name is Imani Mitchell, and I am the founder and president of Black Women United. We are a nonprofit here in Sacramento. We are unapologetically dedicated to the education, protection, and advancement of all Black women. We are an inclusive organization, so it is very important to us that our sisters who are LGBTQ feel welcome in our spaces and in our events. So it's wonderful to receive this very generous gift from a congregation that also believes in this as well. For our first event, we have the Ain't I a Woman March. It's a Black Women's March that is focused on centering, elevating, and supporting all Black women from all walks of life. So this is next Saturday, July 15th at 9 a.m. We're marching from Crocker Park to the state capitol, and it is all inclusive. So we welcome everybody to attend. You do not have to be a Black woman to support Black women. It is also family friendly, so please bring your children and come out and march with us. Thank you so very much.